Good morning, I'm Remo, and this is the Daily Signal for November 20th, 2025. We're starting with breaking news that has military leaders on high alert. Russian warships have just attacked British pilots with laser weapons in international waters. This is the first confirmed use of military-grade lasers against UK servicemen, and London is responding with unprecedented threats. Defense officials say military options are ready. This is escalating fast, and here's what we know so far.
Unfiltered. Now.
That's just the beginning. Here are 9 more critical stories breaking today. Breaking. Major civilian massacre unfolds as Russian missiles kill 25 in Ukrainian city during peace talks. Urgent. Israeli airstrikes devastate Gaza, 25 Palestinians dead, including 8 children in overnight bombing. Explosive. Trump shocks Washington, defending Saudi crown prince over journalist murder in face-to-face meeting. Developing. Massive volcano eruption forces emergency evacuation of 3,000 as lava threatens Indonesian villages. Crisis. Japan fire disaster destroys 170 homes, hundreds evacuated as emergency services overwhelmed. Unprecedented. Australia bans all teenagers from Facebook and Instagram. Millions of teens face social media exile. Escalating. China launches economic warfare against Japan, suspending all seafood imports over Taiwan dispute. Alarming. Spain's far-right surge raises fears of Franco-era return 50 years after dictator's death. Devastating. Vietnam floods kill 8, threaten global coffee supply as climate disasters multiply. These stories are developing fast. Let's get the critical details. This is happening right now in the North Sea. A Russian naval vessel aimed military-grade laser weapons directly at Royal Air Force pilots conducting routine patrols, temporarily blinding 2 airmen. This isn't a warning shot. This is an act of war using futuristic weapons we thought were years away from battlefield deployment. The UK Defense Secretary just announced military options are ready. That's diplomatic speak for potential retaliation. What authorities aren't telling you is that these laser weapons can permanently blind pilots and cause aircraft crashes. We're talking about potentially fatal attacks on British servicemen in international waters. This represents a massive escalation. Russia is now using directed energy weapons against NATO forces during peacetime operations. Military analysts warn this could trigger Article 5, the NATO Mutual Defense Clause. The stakes couldn't be higher, and this situation is deteriorating as we speak. While President Zelensky was meeting with Turkey's Erdogan trying to find peace, Russian missiles were raining down on civilians 800 miles away. 25 innocent people are dead in Ternopil, a city that should have been safe, far from the front lines. The timing is deliberate psychological warfare. Putin wanted to send a message during diplomatic talks. No Ukrainian is safe anywhere. This wasn't a military target. This was pure terrorism aimed at breaking Ukrainian morale and sabotaging peace efforts. What's terrifying is the escalation pattern. Russia is now targeting western Ukrainian cities that have been relatively peaceful, spreading fear across the entire country. Sources confirm this could mean Putin is preparing for a massive offensive using terror tactics against civilians. Overnight, Israeli airstrikes killed 25 Palestinians in Gaza City, including 8 children and 5 women. The strikes targeted locations linked to militant groups, but the civilian death toll is staggering. This follows recent rocket fire towards southern Israel, creating another deadly cycle of retaliation. What's happening is a humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in real time. Gaza's cramped conditions mean any military strike inevitably kills civilians, and international calls for restraint are being ignored. The implications are staggering. We're watching the potential collapse of any peace process. Each civilian death hardens positions on both sides, making diplomatic solutions increasingly impossible. This could spiral into a wider regional conflict involving multiple nations. In an explosive Washington meeting, President Trump praised Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and dismissed international condemnation over the 2018 Jamal Khashoggi killing as a political witch hunt. This isn't just controversial, it's a complete rejection of human rights concerns for geopolitical gain. Trump's unapologetic defense of the Crown Prince shocked critics and reignited massive controversy. They discuss strengthening U.S.-Saudi ties on energy and arms sales, essentially putting oil profits above journalist murders. The timing is critical with ongoing Middle East tensions. Trump's position could influence Republican foreign policy and signal to authoritarian regimes that human rights violations can be overlooked for strategic partnerships. This is reshaping American diplomatic credibility on the world stage. Mount Semeru just erupted without warning, spewing ash and lava flows that forced emergency evacuation of over 3,000 residents. Emergency responders are scrambling to deliver aid while monitoring for additional eruptions. The suddenness is what makes this terrifying. Indonesia's early warning systems couldn't predict this eruption, highlighting the country's vulnerability to volcanic disasters. Densely populated villages are directly in the path of lava flows, and evacuation routes are limited. This is part of Indonesia's ring of fire, dozens of active volcanoes that could erupt at any time, threatening millions. The economic impact is massive, with agricultural areas destroyed and tourism devastated. Climate change may be increasing volcanic activity frequency, making these disasters more common. A massive fire in southwestern Japan destroyed or damaged 170 homes, forcing hundreds to evacuate. The blaze, caused by electrical faults during recent storms, swept through Kumamoto Prefecture with devastating speed. Strong winds prevented firefighters from containing the fire quickly, and heavy rains complicated rescue efforts. Dozens are displaced, with local shelters overwhelmed. This disaster highlights Japan's vulnerability to compound emergencies, storms leading to fires leading to mass displacement. The human cost is mounting, with some injuries reported and families losing everything they own in a matter of hours. Starting early 2026, Meta will remove all Australian users under 18 from Facebook and Instagram. We're talking about millions of teenagers facing complete social media exile due to new government regulations. This is unprecedented globally. No country has ever implemented such a sweeping ban on youth social media access. The psychological impact could be massive, cutting teens off from their primary form of social connection and communication. Critics warn this could drive teens to dangerous underground platforms or increase mental health issues through social isolation. This policy could spark a global movement to restrict youth internet access, fundamentally changing how young people connect worldwide. China just suspended all seafood imports from Japan over Taiwan comments. This is economic warfare escalating beyond Taiwan itself. Beijing is using trade as a weapon to punish any nation that supports Taiwanese sovereignty. This threatens Japanese fishermen's livelihoods and signals China's readiness to leverage economic pressure over geopolitical disputes. We're seeing the weaponization of trade relationships, where economic dependencies become tools of international coercion. 50 years after Franco's death, far-right parties are gaining massive traction across Spain with nationalist rhetoric reminiscent of the dictatorship era. This represents potential democratic backsliding in one of Europe's major economies. Analysts warn of rising polarization, hate crimes, and challenges to democratic institutions. The resurgence of a political movement linked to one of Europe's darkest periods is prompting fears of historical regression and social unrest. This is all part of a bigger picture of global instability accelerating at an unprecedented pace. We're seeing military escalation between major powers, authoritarian tactics spreading, and democratic institutions under pressure worldwide. The laser attack on British pilots, civilian massacres during diplomacy, and economic warfare tactics show how quickly international norms are collapsing. Add natural disasters and social media upheavals, and we're witnessing multiple crisis points converging simultaneously. What's most alarming is the speed of escalation. Military confrontations, civilian casualties, and authoritarian moves that would have been unthinkable months ago are now daily occurrences. The international order established after World War II is being challenged on multiple fronts. These aren't isolated incidents, they're symptoms of a world order in crisis. From military laser attacks to teen social media bans, every story reveals increasing instability and the breakdown of established norms. We'll continue monitoring these rapidly developing situations as they unfold. The stakes have never been higher, and the pace of change has never been faster. This is Remo with the Daily Signal. Stay informed, stay alert, and we'll see you tomorrow with the latest breaking developments.
Unfiltered.